I should have turned it on sooner. I mean, it's on all the time, I never turn it off. Oh well, it'll be all right.
Hello, David. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I'm sure you agree with that, what you just said.
Hello.
Don't these people know there's a storm coming? They just keep coming.
What time's it supposed to hit?
Like 6, the last radar update I saw.
Can I go?
About
You can go.
6:18.
Thank you for joining us tonight. Please silence your phone if you have not done so. And on a personal note, I would like to thank everybody in the city for all their condolences. You would not believe how wonderful our community is. I appreciate all the condolences for my father's passing. So first, let's ask David to offer our invocation tonight.
Father, we come to this time, Lord, just giving thanks for everything you do for us. And Father, we ask you to be with us tonight as we make decisions for Bowie and just to make Bowie a better place. And just keep us safe from the storms coming, Lord. And we just pray no bad weather in Bowie and the surrounding areas. Just keep everybody safe. And continue to comfort Gaylin and her family in passing of her dad. And we just lift you up. Forgive us when we mess up. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. On another note, thanks for opening the blinds.
Yeah, so we can see the storm.
Yes. So I'm going to give you 2 items of community interest, and one of them is Chamber Banquet. Council is next Monday night, and the public, if you are interested, please, it's at the Community Center, Monday night at 6 o'clock. And Cindy's Sip and Stroll for March will be Friday night the 20th. And there won't be any storms. We hope. I know, I probably did. So, we're gonna pass it on to Bert now for our city manager's report.
Last Tuesday, Jay Evans, Kance Gilmore, Jerry Sutton, and I met with Ty Reeby and other engineers with Hazen Engineering about the plans for the water pump at the lake. You'll remember we're under orders from TCEQ to add an additional raw water pump to make sure we can supply enough treated water for our system. Hazen Engineering has completed the plans up to the 90% level, and they wanted us to go over the plans to make sure the design and electrical controls were what we wanted and needed for the operation of the pump. We talked mostly about the electrical controls, the variable speed pump and the electrical control requirement. Jay and Jerry made several suggestions in the final design that could be included in the final plans. When the plans are complete, we'll be ready to bid out the design, the final design and the project, but I have asked TCEQ for a delay so that we could use the Texas Water Development Board grant to possibly pay for the raw water pump, the design of the fluid pipeline, and the design of the water plant expansion. I've told you before, I hope to include the installation of the raw water pump to the grant, and also include the wastewater fluid pipeline and the water plant design plans in the grant. Before the meeting, I met with Hazen, getting ready with the project information forms that are required by the Texas Water Development Board for each project that will be included in the grant application. We put together they call them PIF sheets for the grant application, which basically tells the Water Development Board what we were applying for and the estimated cost of each project. And that's just the first step that we have to for that grant application. Also, I'd like to remind everybody that we're in the middle of a comprehensive plan, and we'll be having some meetings come up. When's the next one?
And there are surveys out that if you've been online or gone to the city website or the city Facebook page, there's some surveys we would like the public to
But
fill out.
we want everybody at the meetings, huh?
The 23rd, Monday the
23rd, we're gonna have another meeting. Like to urge everybody, especially the council, to be there, but John Q. Public and all citizens and everybody. So would hope that you'd be there because we need to really double down on this project. Any questions?
Is TECQ, have they given us any timeline on when they want it completed, or?
No, and in
Any
fact,
hard dates?
when I emailed, I had Jerry and Ty email them and ask them about getting this delay, and they didn't ask them as directly as I would have, so I emailed them directly, and, you know, as long as we get it finished within probably the next 6 or 8 months, the grant application and award will be sometime this summer, so we probably can wait that long. The lady I talked to said, I can't put anything in writing for you, but, you know, that, it's gonna be, you know, she gave several dates and stuff before they start any enforcement. So it'll be in the fall or later in the winter before they start enforcement on that. So as long as we get it taken care of before the enforcement starts, we'll be just fine.
Any other questions for Bert? Okay, well, if not, let's move on to the consent agenda items, and it's only for the minutes from the February 24th meeting. If you've had a chance to look over it and would like to make a motion to approve, I would entertain so.
So moved.
Sproles. Do I have a second?
Second.
Post. Shaw.
Aye.
Truax. Holstein.
Aye.
Sproles. Post, sorry. Got a frog in my throat. All right, so the next item on the agenda is the second reading of Ordinance 2026-03, an ordinance amending Chapter 3, Building and Construction Codes, Article 3.100, Building Codes, Section 3.102, 2018, and other international codes adopted and National Electric Code of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Bowie by deleting Appendix Q from 7/2018 International Residential Code, repealing all conflicting clause and providing a severability clause. Was everybody here at the last meeting?
I wasn't.
You weren't? So what we're doing is restricting tiny house construction from this point forward. And we went over this because it was something that we had, when we first passed this 4 years ago, that we would look at in the future and see where it was going. Now we've determined that we kind of need to back off and bring our infrastructure up. We also intended it to be, as Brent brought out, affordable housing, and we're not seeing that.
Right.
Plus the number of meters for our water plant situation, we're trying to limit that increase too right now. And it did pass in the vote in the first reading. So I would entertain a motion to accept this as written.
So moved.
Post, do I have a second?
Second.
Laura?
Yes.
Shaw?
Aye.
Truax?
Aye.
Sproles?
Aye.
Post?
Aye.
Holstein?
Aye.
There is a second ordinance that has to be amended also. This is the second reading of Ordinance 2026-04, an ordinance amending Chapter 12, Planning and Zoning, Section 23, Use of Land and Buildings, Subsection 23.2, Residential Uses of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Bowie, deleting tiny houses in its entirety from the residential uses chart, repealing and any conflicting clause, providing for a severability clause. So do I have a motion to accept the ordinance as read?
So moved.
Boyd, do I have a second?
Second.
Laura? Shaw?
Aye.
Post?
Aye.
Truax?
Aye.
Sproles?
Aye.
Holstein?
Aye.
The next item on the agenda is to accept the resignation of Councilmember Brandon Walker from Precinct 1. He submitted a resignation a week ago, last Tuesday? The second. So we will have to accept a resignation from him, and then we will have to replace him within 30 days, but it'll be at the next council meeting, which is the 24th.
30 days of his resignation?
resignation.
Or this meeting?
Actually, it's the 4th, wasn't it?
Actually, it ends up being, I think, it was on the 8th or something like that.
Yeah.
There's a way you calculate it, it's kind of.
Yeah, it's kind of weird the way you calculate it, but regardless, if we don't have any applications, we'll have to go to a special election. So we wanted to get this moving, so. So I would entertain a motion to accept Councilor Brandon Walker's resignation.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Post?
Aye.
Shaw?
Aye.
Truax? Holstein?
Aye.
And Sproles.
Aye.
So if you know anybody that wants to put an application in Precinct 1, that's from 59 and the Railroad West. Please send them to see Sandy before the 19th of March. All right, the next item on the agenda is to accept the 2024-2025 audit by Mathis, West, and Huffines. And Valerie is here to present it, and it seems so long ago.
Yes, it's been several, 5 months about since this year end, but here we are to present it. So I'm Valerie Halverson, shareholder at MWH Group, and we just completed the audit for the city of Bowie for the year ended September 30, 2025. So I'm here, I'm just going to briefly hit the highlights with you. I'm happy to answer any questions, so feel free to stop me as I go through it. This year, we did both an audit of the financial statements, and we also did what we call an examination, because the city had some significant grant funding, but because it's still this coronavirus relief funding, there's a special exception that prevents us from having to do a single audit. So we did an examination of the coronavirus relief funding, and happy to report that we didn't have any findings as a result of that audit. So that is one of the letters that I've passed out to you, is that examination report. And then the other bigger report that you are used to seeing is this annual financial report. So I'll kind of start with that, and like I said, hit the highlights, but feel free to stop me at any point. I like to start on numbered page 1, which is our independent auditors report. I'm sorry. Our independent auditors report on the financial statements. And this says that we believe the financial statements are fairly presented in all material respects, which, like I say, is as nice as we get as auditors. There is a new paragraph in here. It's an emphasis of matter paragraph. There was actually a restatement for one of the component units. So there was some funding that had been identified as grant funding that was actually local funding, and there was an unearned revenue liability as a result of that. So we corrected that this year when we found it, and so that resulted in a restatement. So, but that was for the component unit, not for the city. Moving past that, on page 3 is your management's discussion and analysis. This is intended to provide kind of a conversational approach to what happened during the year, but it also has some comparative statements, so I'll point that out to you. Starting on page 5, the bottom of that is the city's net position. So this is the city's assets, liabilities, and the difference between the two is your net position. At the end of the year, the city as a whole, not including component units, was just under 54 million in assets, up a couple million from this point last year. Liabilities are about 16.1 million, down about 17.9 million from last year. So your net position, which is the difference between your assets and liabilities, is about 37.4 million, up about 3 million from where you were in 2024. And of that 37 million, about 12 million of that is unrestricted, which is available for use at the city's discretion moving forward. Page 7 is the changes in net position. So this shows your revenues, expenses, and then that ultimate change in net position. Overall, the city had $23 million in revenue during the year, up from about 21 million last year. Increases in charges for services, and also some increases in property tax and sales tax. And then there were some significant grants again this year, significant grants last year and this year. So that's adding to that bottom line. Overall expenses are about 20 million. So that increase in net position that we already discussed was $3 million during the year. And so those are kind of the highlights I like to hit in the MD&A. The next section, starting on page 11, is the statement of net position. This is the kind of extended version of the summarized report that we just looked at, provides your assets, liabilities, and net position for the city as a whole. Also includes your two component units, EDC and 4B, Sales Tax Corporation. And then that next page, pages 12 and 13, are your statement of activities for the city as a whole again. And again, this is an expanded version of the numbers that we just briefly looked at in the MD&A. I like to take a minute to explain how this report works. So starting on page 12, if you look, starting by the departmental functions, so the first line there is administration, and the city spent $456,000 for administrative governmental expenses during the year. But then the next three columns are program revenues, so those are revenues that are directly attributable to a department. So they're about $4,000 in revenue that is attributable to administration. And then if you move over to page 13, that first column, we're still on that top row. $452,000 is the net cost of administration, so that's that expenses less those charges for services. And if you follow that whole column down, that's the next net cost of providing that service. So you will see one positive number in there, that $72,000. That's sanitation. It was actually a net income, so it provided revenue. It didn't cost anything. And if you follow that all the way down, the cost of providing governmental activities was $6.2 million before your general revenues. And then you go to that final section, which is your general revenues. So those are just revenues of the city that aren't attributed to any one department. So that's property taxes, sales tax, franchise tax, investment earnings. And then also that's where your transfers show. So all of those general revenues plus transfers led to an increase of $7.1 million in governmental activities, which was that increase in $883,000 for governmental activities. If you follow that over, one business type activities had $2.1 million increase, and that led to that city as a whole $3 million increase that we have already pointed out on that other statement. So that statement's just a little unusual, so I'd like to show you how it works. And then for your component units, EDC had an increase of $650,000 during the year, and the 4B had $448,000 increase. So increases all around. The next page, page 14, goes into your governmental funds. So these are on a different basis of accounting. This is kind of intended to be more in line with your budget or current assets. The big thing that you want to look at here is your general fund balance, which is really the unassigned fund balance, which is about $4.9 million. The goal there is to be between 3 and 6 months of expenses, and y'all are well within that range, closer to 6 months. So that's a nice healthy fund balance, and it's good to see. Page 15 is the reconciliation between those two statements. Page 16 then goes to your general fund, the statement of revenues, expenditures, and change in fund balance. This is still on that cash basis. So overall, the general fund had a loss of $378,000, but that includes principal payments on debt is an expense and capital outlay is an expense. So that's why there's a big difference between the two statements. And then page 17 shows the reconciliation that gets you from one statement to the next. The next three statements then are the statement of net position for your enterprise fund. These are back to that full accrual basis of accounting, so the same numbers that we saw in the first two statements, just in a different format. So those are the highlights on the basic financial statements. And past that gets into the notes to the financial statement. So there are no new notes. This is just an area that provides your accounting policies and some details on your balances in there. No new notes or big changes to existing notes, but those do provide the additional details for the statements themselves. One thing that you only see with me with the audit that I'd like to point out is on page 40, which is the city's participation with TMRS. There's a pension liability that's recorded. So that TMRS actuaries estimate the city's pension that you'll pay out for existing participants, which is about $21.8 million, that first column. Right now, or as of 12/31/24, the city had $22 million in assets held at TMRS to pay that liability out. So you actually resulted in a net pension asset position, meaning that the TMRS assets held on hand exceed the liability that they're estimating right now. So it's a good, healthy position for your pension. And with that, those are kind of the highlights in the financial statements. Does anybody have any questions on any of the numbers and the financial statements themselves or want any more details on that. The last section in this report is the internal control and compliance section. And in this, because we perform an audit in accordance with government auditing standards, we have to report any internal control weaknesses or significant deficiencies we identify. And we did have one to report this year. We had some material audit adjustments related to accounting for grant reporting, primarily in revenue recognition. So we did not, like I said, we did do a grant-specific audit. We didn't have any compliance issues with the way that grant funding was spent. It was just the timing of recording the revenue of grants. And because those adjustments were material, we had a finding regarding that accounting for grant activity. And those are the highlights within this report. I think I've already pointed out the examination report. And then the last letter is just that kind of typical letter that we provide that's to those charged with governance, where we have to tell you things like we didn't have any disagreements with management and their estimates in the financial statements. And with that, on the back of that letter, it does show the summary of those journal entries that were material, primarily related to grant-funded projects. And those are my highlights, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
You've managed to confuse everyone in that way you get to go home early. I'm kidding.
I know, it's a lot of numbers and a lot of statements, and they really make governmental accounting pretty complicated in the way that it's all those statements.
The grant issue that you were talking about, and you fixed that was not within us, that was with the EDC, wasn't it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that was the EDC.
I thought it was.
So all in all, it sounds like the audit was good.
All in all, it was good, yes, ma'am.
We're in solid financial shape.
Yes,
Congratulations.
We are,
yes,
No
absolutely.
irregularities, so.
Yeah,
That is good to hear.
absolutely.
I have no
I'm
question.
sorry, I may not have been following well. What does this material weakness identified mean?
So the material weakness is the accounting for grant reporting. So we had material adjustments related to grant revenue recognition. And so we reported material weakness because we had a material adjustment for the grant revenue. So that's what it means.
Okay,
Does that make sense?
yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? No?
Good.
I know, I was looking at Brent, I figured.
Okay, look at every face out there, they're all going. All right, well then, thank you very much, Valerie, we
Thank you.
appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for all the work you did, Pam, on it, because I know it must drive you absolutely mad this time of year. So, I know it does. Like grayer. So thank you again to both of y'all for all the work that you do to make sure that we're in compliance. I appreciate that. Now, you should get on the road because of the weather. And you should get on the road because of the weather. Thank y'all very much.
Bye, thank you.
All right, so let's ask for a motion to accept the audit as presented by Valerie.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Laramie, Shaw,
Aye.
Holstein,
Aye.
Sproles,
Aye.
Post,
Aye.
and Truax. Great, thank you. All right, the next item on the agenda is involving Kirk. It's a resolution 2026-07, a resolution approving submission of a grant application for I can't say it tonight, interoperable P25 digital handheld radios. Thank you, sorry,
Hello.
that was a mouthful.
This is the Governor's Office of Homeland Security's annual grant that's available to us through Nortex that we're going to be applying for. The minimum grant request is $10,000. I think they're going to get about $200,000 to play with, but I'm not sure about that. We are in need of some handheld radios that meet the digital requirement for communications. Right now, all the handheld radios we have in emergency management are either personally owned or they're outdated and we don't have the battery packs to use them. So this would be nice to get us 6 radios, and that's what we're asking for, is 6 radios, which are roughly $1,000 apiece, and then the accessories that go with them, the battery packs, the microphones, the antennas, the chargers, those kind of things. It comes up to $10,640. It is a 100% grant. We don't have to match anything.
Well, I can't see why that wouldn't be
Like it.
100% approved.
I'm telling you.
So while you're standing there, can I ask for a motion to accept the request of Kirk's Resolution 2026-07?
So moved.
Laura, do I have a second?
Second.
Stephanie? Truax?
Aye.
Holstein?
Aye.
Sproles?
Aye.
Post?
Aye.
And Shaw. Thank you for finding that and applying.
Yes.
Well, the current grant got put on hold. We got $12,000, and it got put on hold because as soon as it opened up, 12 states sued FEMA because they didn't feel they were getting enough money in the grant, so all of our grants were put on hold. So I'm still waiting to hear if we're going to get that grant.
Okay.
So hopefully it'll go through.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right, the next item on our agenda is the lovely Caitlin Dake from Public Management.
Yes, good evening, council. It is amazing to see y'all tonight. I thank you for taking part of y'all's evening to discuss with me. I was asked to put on the agenda tonight to have a discussion on the comprehensive plan that the city is currently writing. As a quick general recap, the city was awarded a $300,000 comprehensive planning grant from the General Land Office of Texas for 100% match guarantee. So the city is not having to pay anything out of pocket for this project. My company, Public Management, is doing both the grant administration and the planning services on this project as well. And we are slowly trucking along throughout this project. It is a 3-year grant timeline, so this is not something that happens overnight, sad enough to say. But we started about a year ago on this, and now we're about a third of the way through on this project, as some of y'all were attendants of the town hall that we did previously, other joint workshops and council meetings that we've had to discuss these matters. We are now starting to get into what I call the real meat and the nitty-gritties of this process. This is not just a comprehensive planning document. It is the document that is going to guide the city for the next 10 years when it comes to regulations, CIP funding, grant allocations, and all those types of matters, along with a full comprehensive update of the zoning ordinance and looking at a lot of other things in regards to the city's standing for the next 10 years. At the end of this process, what we'll be asking of you is you will be signing that document and adopting a comprehensive plan and a zoning update to prove that y'all will be following these guidelines, and this will be y'all's roadmap for the next 20 years. It really is a one-of-a-kind grant. In the past, typically, we've only seen $20,000, $35,000 allocated to this type of planning. So this is the first time we've ever seen the state really show up and show how important this is. And with the number of grants that y'all have been doing previously, both through PMI and through other sources, this is a way to really plan out how we want these projects to look, what projects we want to look for in the future, what's our priorities when it comes to our water plant, our sewer plant, what's our priorities when it comes to the streets, et cetera, et cetera. Overall, I wanted to come to speak mainly on a few different items. First of all, we will be doing another joint workshop with the council and P&Z on the 23rd in order to have discussion on the future land use map. For anybody that is not aware, a future land use map is step 1 when it comes to zoning. So this is what we're going to be doing now. This is what we're deciding. This map is then going to decide what we do on zoning, and so on and so forth. So this is a really important process. Whenever you're talking a zoning ordinance, that's a 20 to 30 year living document. We're making decisions for decades in the future. So I want as many people at the table to be able to give me feedback as possible. While I deal with this day in and day out, I am not the decision makers that be. So I want y'all there to be able to give input, ask questions, make decisions, all those types of fun things. Additionally, on top of that 23rd meeting, at that event, we will also be discussing holding a town hall 2 for the public to come out and get to see kind of our 50% to 75% plan development of the comprehensive plan. At this stage, what we've done is we have pulled all previous plans that are both on the city level, the regional level, and the state level. We have pulled in all analysis that we can pull in from previous projects and also from the city's existing systems, and we've started to make recommendations towards what will be in the future. The analysis will not be completed. We leave it open-ended at this event for the purpose of asking the public if they think we are headed in the right direction, making sure that we're using the grant funds as the community sees best fit. And then post this event, we'll start working towards the 100%. But if it's always something that I want to have y'all's input in, so we'll be discussing that on the 23rd as well. Additionally, because of the city's current standing with a possibility of a Texas Parks and Wildlife application over the next few budget cycles, it was brought to public management to make sure that we adopt the parks portion of this plan in advancement to the whole portion of the plan. So in the next 2 months, you will see me coming back to you with a 100% drafted comprehensive plan for the park system in Bowie. And so I will be bringing that to y'all soon, just so y'all have that on y'all's radar of what's coming up. And y'all will get to see what the Parks Board has put together. We have had many very long meetings. I think some of the longest meetings the Parks Board has had in a while, in which we've started to outline projects, goals, initiatives, all those types of things for them to be able to plan accordingly over the next 10 years. That was my main intention for tonight, was to give y'all a progress update of where we're at with this plan. As y'all are hopefully aware, there is the preliminary findings already available to all of y'all that I would love if y'all go read what our company spent so much time putting together, but we'll be building upon that very soon, and then we'll be getting y'all the 50 to 75% developed. I also just want to come and make sure that nobody has any questions, as this is a very long project and y'all don't get to be a part of it. A lot of these long spurts, to make sure that no one has any questions or comments they would like us to take into consideration as we continue writing over the next coming months.
The 23rd,
Yes,
tell them
ma'am.
what time the meeting is, and you've already booked the room.
I have not booked anything. The last email communication I have with the city is we were deciding if we wanted to do it as a lunch meeting or a dinner meeting. So that's to the two
What
of
do you
y'all.
guys want to do? It's a joint meeting.
Y'all
so
wanna eat, cause
lunch or dinner?
I think that you'd like to, spend some time and
23rd
have a
of this
meal
month?
together and so we can talk, so.
I can make either work. I will say that lunch works better for me, so I can be in Springtown at 6. But I can tell other people that they can do it.
So you're tied up that night?
Not technically. It would make it better if we did lunch, but
That's
I
a
can do
Monday.
either.
Lunch works for me.
Whatever
Yeah, but
means the
Laramie,
most
it won't
people
work for
will be
you,
there.
will it? I didn't think so. It won't work for you.
It'll work for me.
Will it work for you?
I
You
can try
know.
to make it work.
If we need to do dinner, I'm more than happy to do dinner. That works.
Brent,
I
what's your
prefer-
schedule look like?
I mean, either.
Dinner would not be working for me,
But dinner won't work for you?
Okay.
not that day.
Well, can we do a different day?
Yeah, we can definitely look at a different day.
I think we're gonna have that problem every time we look
How
at
about
something.
brunch?
Brunch.
A brunch, early morning.
So I know that Laramie works out of town so much, it's so hard to catch him at lunchtime. And I know that you're pretty tied up at lunchtime too. I mean,
It's also, this is a joint session, so also think of your members on your P and Z and what their work schedules are like, so if their availability would be
I
one or
really
the
think
other.
an evening meeting would work better.
Okay, perfect. Do we want to do evening on the 23rd, or do
Are
we
you
want
meeting
to
with them again
discuss
this month?
With,
Oh, no, it's planning and zoning, that works. How about your guys? Most of them would work better in the evening too?
Yes.
Okay, so let's do an evening meeting. Do you guys have a date that's out? I mean, we need to look around that week. We need to be in that week. The 24th, we have a meeting for the city council.
if we're looking that week, just from my perspective, the only dates that I have available are that Monday, Wednesday, which is always hard because that's a church night, and then Friday.
Monday.
Wednesday works best for me. Just
Friday works best for me. No, I'm messing.
I mean, Y'all are, with y'all's grant timeline, we are able to shift. So if we feel we need to shift this meeting back a couple weeks, we are able to do that without any hardship on that town hall date happening. We are hoping to host y'all's town hall number 2 in April, late April, early May. So I want to make sure that we have enough time to discuss those elements, but I do not want y'all to feel like y'all are on a major grant, like staring over your shoulder timeline issue right now.
Are you available on the 30th?
No, ma'am.
What's the time frame on the 23rd?
What, the timeframe would be whatever we wanted it to be.
Like
But
early
she's got to be in
evening?
Springtown.
I don't have to be in
You-
Springtown.
you
I can
wanna
make
be-
other people go to it.
Oh, no, she just.
Hmm?
Can you do it on the 23rd?
Mhm. Yeah.
What time do you need it to be?
I just need to get out of there earlier than, because there's, well, I'll tell you afterwards, but
Okay, so is 5 o'clock too late for you?
no. As long as it don't run till 10.
Oh, wait, what are we talking about, an hour?
I was expecting it to be similar to the last one, so an hour to 2 hours.
Okay.
You can leave
It
if
will
you
be
have to.
future land use.
All right, so let's look at the
Let's do it.
23rd. Everybody look at the 23rd at 5 o'clock. See if that works. Can you
That
be
work?
here, Larry? Can you be back?
Okay.
Can you be there, Boyd?
I can make it work.
I'll make
My
it work.
question is, what do you want to eat?
If it's free, I don't care.
It's free.
Okay,
Actually, it's not
Chisholm
free.
Trail.
The city's got to buy it.
Well, yeah.
All right, let's do 5 o'clock
Nothing's
on the
free.
23rd.
I have it in my
Ham
calendar.
like food,
Will
or
you
like
contact your group?
sandwiches, or burgers, or
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna do the
nobody else
23rd.
answered, Boyd. You just made the decision.
What,
And so at that event, just so everyone's prepared, the city has a copy of the future land use map that PMI has already developed previously for the last meeting. I can resend that if we need it again. And so my hope is that that'll get sent out to everybody so y'all have time to review it beforehand. But just as a thought, think about the way that you want the city to be developing. That will be the main focus of this conversation, is what land uses do you think need to go where? What like uses do we think need to go together? All those types of things. And then also just in general, anything y'all have in relation to the comprehensive plan and y'all's ideas and vision for the next 10 years, project-wise, and all that kind of stuff. So,
okay,
that's it.
all right, so I've got an idea.
Yes, ma'am.
What you just said,
Mhm.
what you want them thinking about between now and then,
Yes,
send me that email
I can do that.
and carbon copy it to Sandy.
I can do that
She will
too.
make sure that council gets that in writing, so they have it sitting in front of them and ready to look at anytime between now and the 23rd,
Perfect, we can do that.
because it's only 2 weeks away.
I can
All right.
do it. And then the last thing I wanted to mention is that if any of y'all are interested,
Sorry.
if any of y'all are interested in the development of the parks plan, I highly recommend y'all come to the meeting on the 26th, so that Thursday after that Monday. Meeting that we have, that will be their last review of the comprehensive plan before we start going into the adoption timeline and bringing it to y'all and things of that nature. We'll be bringing in a lot of stakeholders from the community is the hope, so the banks, the 4-H clubs, FFA, all the youth leagues in the city, to be able to get their input on the projects they see and they think need to happen over the next few years. So if any of y'all have interest in that as part of your membership on city council, I recommend that you attend that meeting.
What time is that meeting?
It is starting at 4, so there will be a workshop from 4 to 5. That is when the main fun discussions will be happening, where we will be talking with the stakeholders, seeing what everybody's willing to do, what their projects are, but then we're also going to extend it into the regularly scheduled meeting at 5 as well.
And where is that going to be?
That'll be at the city
Okay.
community center. Yes, sir.
Have you booked the room for that?
Oh, that's already put.
It's
that's
already,
for the
yeah.
Parks Board's regularly meets there.
And I've already talked with Sandy and we have that put together.
I don't know, that's a question too. Where are we meeting on the
Oh, yeah.
23rd?
Really, we can.
Well, it's
probably-
us and the park, planning and zoning.
The East Hall, who told us just fine.
On the 23rd?
I'll call and make sure.
Okay, we'll check out the East Hall. If it's any different, we'll let you know.
That's perfectly fine. Is there anything else that I can help answer for y'all in regards to this project? Anything else that I can be of assistance with or prepare for y'all?
an end to all these meetings?
Yeah.
No. Love you, but no. So the way this works, and I warned y'all when I
You did
started
warn
this,
us.
that y'all are going to start to hate my face. This is when that start to hate my face begins. Today we're talking, this meeting that we just planned will be future land use discussions. Following that is going to be zoning. Zoning is a lot. It is a lot of work. It is a lot of meetings. You do not go into zoning saying, oh, this is gonna be quick and simple. If you do, I will laugh at you and will not feel bad about it. And so I'm going to make y'all discuss. I'm going to make y'all have meetings. I'm going to make sure y'all are understanding what it is we're changing, not only from a planner's perspective of what is best practice, but also me trying to make sure the city is getting the best thing they can out of this grant. So be prepared for meetings to continue happening. I will say there is an end in sight. Once we get to Town Hall 2, we typically say about 6 to 8 months until we're at Town Hall 3 with 100% plan development, and then about 6 to 8 months for zoning and zoning adoption. So, depending on how fast we choose to do this, I've had some cities that have sped through that at a much quicker rate than I've had other clients. It really depends on what y'all choose to do and how y'all choose to spearhead this. My recommendation is getting on top of it and doing it now is better, but in order to do that, we have to have these meetings and everybody be informed and be ready to talk about it when we get in the room together.
So one of the things we might consider is some of these future meetings being right after the city council meetings, because we all plan for a Tuesday night meeting anyway. So that might be a way for us to not try and figure out how to get everybody here.
Yes. Yep.
So in the future, maybe expect that some of these meetings will come after this meeting
That would
closes.
work.
That way we're already on location.
That's a great idea.
We can also do them beforehand too,
That'll work.
either way.
So,
That's everything I have
we
unless there's
probably
any
should have done
questions
that on
for
the
me.
24th.
You-
You weren't available? Okay, so when you're planning in the future that you
Yes.
know you want meetings with us, remember we meet on Tuesday nights.
Yes, and I can do them on council nights and we can plan for them to be
Yeah,
in
let's-
accordance.
Let's at least try and work towards that.
Yep. Would that work for P and Z as well, if they would be able to be in attendance those nights? For these joint work stuff?
Council meeting
Council
night.
night.
Tuesday nights.
I really can't, but possibly.
Because that is one thing we had discussed a few months back was the way the city, we did not create a comprehensive plan action committee, which is pretty much just where you put a bunch of people together and they get to make all the decisions, then it goes through P&Z, then it goes through council. Instead, the city had chosen to put together our P&Z and our council in these joint workshops, so everybody's on the same page, and that's how we were gonna handle this plan. And so if that's still the plan, that's just another thing that I'll make sure in writing whenever I send you these
That's
to
good.
make sure we mark them as joint with both groups and see if everybody can be available.
Sounds great.
I
Thank
like
you.
that.
Thank y'all again.
Thank you for the
Thank
presentation.
you.
Thank you.
I didn't know you could talk so much.
And it's okay, we still like your face.
Well, give me a few more months.
All right, so the next item on the agenda is Resolution 2026-08, a resolution authorizing membership in the Atmos City Steering Committee and authorizing the payment of 4 cents per capita to Atmos City Steering Committee to fund regulatory and related activities related to Atmos Energy Corporation.
These are the people that, when Atmos wants a rate increase, they
Negotiate.
Group that fights against that rate increase, and it's a way for, gosh, I don't know how many, 250 cities in Texas to get together and fund the group of lawyers that argue against any rate increases that Atmos brings. So it's a good deal for us, because I can remember the old days when we had to make those decisions ourselves, and it was not pleasant because nobody had the expertise to do it. So these people have it, so I highly recommend you
We have every year that we've been here.
We've been members for a long time now, so.
So I would entertain a motion to accept the resolution as presented.
So moved.
Stephanie, do I have a second?
Second.
Boyd? Shaw?
Aye.
Truax? Holstein?
Aye.
Sproles?
Aye.
And Post.
Aye.
And the
Any
rate
public
actually
comments?
went-
Any public comments? If not, then we will close our meeting tonight at what time? 6:43.
Amen.
Laura, go home.
I'm going to.